Let's move over to this now. AfriForum says the South African government tried with all its might to avoid cooperating with Botswana as they investigate elite political suspects for offences committed in the country. The Botswana government approached the lobby group to lead a private prosecution to compel South African authorities to work with them in their probe. The court has found that government has failed to provide a solution and dismissed the application with costs. Let's bring in Barry Bateman, who speaks on behalf of AfriForum. Thank you so much for your time, Barry. It's good to see you. Maybe just bring us up to speed with this particular matter, those that aren't really aware of why the South African government was not cooperating and how the Botswana government is involved in all of this.
Good afternoon, Heidi. Thanks for having me. This goes back to 2019. The Botswanan government is investigating serious fraud at one of their banks, and they submitted a request for mutual legal assistance through the appropriate channels from the Botswana government or the Director of Public Prosecutions in that country to the government of South Africa. That went unresponded to. There was no response to that. They tried to follow up. There was some response, but ultimately there was no response to the information that was sought in terms of the application for mutual legal assistance. It was at this point that the Director of Public Prosecutions, Botswana, approached AfriForum's private prosecution unit and appointed us to file an amandamus application. Now, this application, which was heard last year, was basically to compel the government to do its job. It's as simple as that. The government, they failed to adequately file papers, the notice to oppose and all the rest of it, and the order was granted in our favor, or in the favor rather of the DPP Botswana, because the state simply didn't oppose. What was heard more recently in the judgment handed down earlier this week was an application that was brought by the South African government to rescind that order that compelled it to do its job. And that is what was rejected on grounds that simply there was no case that was made by the state. But Heidi, I just want to put this into context so you can understand the gravity of what we're dealing with here. This is a neighboring country. Think of this on an international stage. This is a neighboring country that has approached a NGO in South Africa to ask our local courts to compel the South African government to do their job. MLAs happen all the time. 99% of the time, these mutual legal assistance applications are dealt with by the state, and they're dealt with quite quickly, and the information is handed over to our counterparts, our neighbors and so on, so that they can continue their investigations into crime. We submit that the reason that this matter, this little 1% type case, is being stalled is because of the status of the suspect in this investigation.
So this was going to be my next question, is why would the South African government not cooperate? Who are the suspects, if we can divulge that information, Barry?
I'm not going to divulge it. It's certainly because we're acting on instruction from the DPP Botswana, and they didn't identify it and so on. But it has been well reported on, and this person holds a significant status in South African politics in that particular sphere. So anybody who's interested could quickly find out who the answer is, and you will also realize why this matter has been dragging on as it should. And I stress again, it is not a complicated case. This is an easy matter. A request for mutual legal assistance that would assist our counterparts across the border to be able to conduct their investigation. South African authorities are not helping.
Yeah, it's rather disturbing and concerning, Barry. What happens now, given this recent court ruling?
Well, now that their rescission application has been dismissed, it means that the order that was handed originally that gave the government 14 days to provide a response to the DPP Botswana now stands. And that would have been from when the judgment was handed down earlier this week. So within the next 2 weeks, the government has to comply, unless they're going to try another foolish attempt at, challenging a court and not wanting to do their jobs.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Thank you so much for that update. That is AfriForum spokesperson Barry Bateman.